Tonight, there is nowhere you need to go. Nothing you need to understand. Nothing waiting for you at the end. Only a quiet place, already resting, already still. You find yourself standing on a soft path where the night has settled gently around you. And ahead, held in darkness but never hidden, a castle rests, not distant, not calling, simply existing. You do not need to arrive. You do not need to follow anything. You can simply begin, slowly, letting each step soften before the next. The air is cool, the world is quiet, and everything here feels as though it has already come to rest. So you walk, gently, without purpose, without direction, and the night, quietly, holds you. You move forward, slowly, along the worn stone path, where each step settles softly into the quiet ground, and the air remains cool and steady around you, carrying nothing with it. No urgency, no movement, only the gentle presence of night. And ahead, the shape of the castle begins to form, not suddenly, not sharply, but as something that has always been there. You continue. Nothing changes. The walls rise slowly from the darkness, not towering, not imposing, but resting in place, as though they have long since finished whatever purpose they once held. And as you walk, the stillness deepens around you, not because anything happens, but because everything here has already stopped. And that is enough. Your steps remain soft. The ground beneath you feels worn, smoothed over time by countless quiet movements that came before yours, not hurried, not purposeful, just slow, steady, and now you follow that same rhythm without thinking. You continue. There is nothing to reach, only the next step, and then the next. A faint warm glow appears near the gate, not bright, not pulling you forward, simply resting against the stone, steady and unchanged, as though it has been there for a very long time. Nothing changes. The light does not grow stronger. It does not move. It simply exists. And you continue. The air becomes softer here, slightly warmer, as though the walls ahead have already begun to hold the night within them. And there is a quiet sense that whatever lies beyond has already settled into rest. You do not need to think about it. You do not need to imagine anything. There is nothing to follow, only the quiet. Your steps remain slow, even slower now, not because you are tired, but because there is no reason to move quickly. The path beneath you smooths further, each step softer than the last, and the gate remains ahead, unchanged, waiting, without expectation. You continue, and nothing changes. The heavy wooden doors stand open, not wide, not welcoming, simply resting where they are, as though closing them would serve no purpose. And the stone arch above you holds the same quiet stillness as everything else. There is no sound here, no voices, no movement, only the sense that somewhere beyond the walls, unseen and untouched, the last small routines of the night have already finished. Doors closed, candles dimmed, footsteps faded, and now everything rests. You continue. There is nothing to follow. As you step beneath the arch, the world behind you softens, not disappearing, not ending, just becoming quieter, more distant, as though it no longer needs to be held, and that is enough. Inside, the air feels warmer, still, held within the stone. The quiet deepens, not empty, not hollow, just full, in a way that requires nothing from you. You continue, nothing changes, and slowly, even the feeling of moving forward begins to soften, until there is only the rhythm of your steps, and the quiet, and the gentle sense that everything has already come to rest. The corridor stretches ahead, narrow, steady, unchanged, and the light from distant torches rests softly against the stone walls, leaving long shadows that do not move, only settle into place. And your steps echo gently, fading almost as soon as they begin. You continue. Nothing changes. The air feels still here, contained, as though nothing passes through without first becoming quiet. And as you move forward, the rhythm of your steps slows even further. Not because you are trying, but because nothing here moves quickly, and that is enough. You pass a narrow opening in the wall, where the night presses gently inward, cool air brushing softly against your skin before fading again. You do not stop. There is nothing to follow, only the quiet. You continue, and nothing changes. The corridor bends slightly, not asking you to turn, not guiding you anywhere, simply shifting, and you follow without thinking, without noticing when the change happens. Your steps remain soft, even softer now. The stone beneath your feet feels worn, familiar, as though it has held this same rhythm for a very long time. You continue. There is nothing to reach, only the next step, and the next, and slowly the corridor begins to open. Not suddenly, not clearly, but gently, until the space around you expands into a courtyard. Wide, still, unchanged. At the center, a single lantern rests beside a stone well. Its glow soft, steady, touching only what is close, leaving everything else in shadow. It does not flicker. It does not draw attention. It simply exists, and that is enough. You cross the courtyard, slowly. Your steps softer now, as though even the ground asks for less. The space holds you, without effort, without expectation. You continue. There is nothing to follow. The air remains still. No wind, no sound of water, no movement, only the quiet, only the stillness. On the far side, a doorway waits, unmarked, unimportant, simply there. You move toward it, slowly, and nothing changes. Inside, the air becomes warmer again, held within the walls, carrying the faintest trace of wood and stone. And somewhere beyond, unseen, there is the quiet presence of others resting, not moving, not waking, only existing in the same stillness you now move through. You do not think about them. You do not follow them. You continue. There is nothing to follow, only the quiet. A narrow stairway curves upward before you. And for a moment, nothing changes. The stone beneath your feet remains cool, steady, unchanged. You do not need to climb. You do not need to reach the top. You can simply begin. Slowly you take a step, and the stair remains the same. You continue, nothing changes. The walls close gently around you, not tight, not heavy, just present, holding the quiet in place. And the faint torchlight rests against the stone, flickering softly, without urgency, without purpose. And that is enough. You take another step, then another, each one softer than the last. Not because you are trying, but because nothing here asks for more. You continue. There is nothing to follow. The stair curves slowly, endlessly, not leading, not guiding, simply existing, and you follow without thinking. Without needing to arrive, nothing changes. The air remains still. The light remains soft. Your steps remain quiet. Everything continues, without effort, without movement, without direction. You continue. And slowly, without noticing when, the stair begins to open. The walls shift, not suddenly, not clearly, just enough, until the space around you expands into a hall, wide, still, unchanged. Nothing changes. You step forward, and the hall remains exactly as it is. The floor beneath you feels solid, unmoving. The distant torches rest quietly along the walls, their light faint, steady, touching only what is close, leaving everything else in shadow. You do not need to cross the hall. You do not need to reach the other side. You can simply move, slowly, without purpose. You continue. There is nothing to follow. Your steps echo softly, then disappear, as though they were never there. The space holds you, without effort, without expectation. Nothing changes. The far end of the hall remains distant, unmoving, waiting, without asking anything from you. And that is enough. You continue. And eventually, without deciding, without choosing, you find yourself near an opening, a tower, quiet, still, unchanged. You step inside, and the walls narrow again, gently, softly, holding the same stillness as before. You continue. There is nothing to follow. The stair rises slightly, just a little further, not leading anywhere, not asking anything, simply continuing. And you follow, without thinking, without needing to arrive. Nothing changes. And then the space opens. Not suddenly, not completely, just enough until the night stretches outward, dark, soft, endless. The land below is barely visible, softened by distance. The castle walls fall away beneath you, and the air feels cooler, but nothing changes. There is no sense of height, no sense of distance, only stillness, only quiet, only rest. You remain here for a moment or longer. It does not matter. There is nothing to follow, nothing to hold, nothing to reach, and slowly, without deciding, you turn and begin to descend. You move along the outer wall, and for a moment, nothing changes. The stone beneath your feet remains steady, unchanged. The night stretches beside you, quiet, unmoving. You do not need to go anywhere. You do not need to reach anything. You can simply continue. Slowly, you take a step, and the world remains the same. You continue. Nothing changes. The torches along the wall are spaced far apart, their light soft, steady, resting gently against the stone before fading into shadow. And between them, long stretches of darkness hold everything in quiet. And that is enough. Your steps grow softer, even softer now. Not because you are trying, but because nothing here asks for more. You continue. There is nothing to follow. The path curves gently beneath you, not guiding, not leading, simply continuing. And you follow without thinking, without needing to arrive. Nothing changes. The air remains still, cool, empty, carrying nothing. No sound, no movement, only space, only quiet. You continue. And slowly, without noticing when, the wall begins to open slightly, not clearly, not suddenly, just enough, until a small space begins to form. An alcove, partially sheltered, held quietly within the stone. Nothing changes. It does not call to you. It does not stand out. It simply exists, and that is enough. You continue. There is nothing to follow. Your steps remain slow, unchanged, soft against the stone, and the alcove remains ahead, waiting, without expectation, without purpose. You move toward it, slowly, and nothing changes. The light here is faint, just enough to soften the edges of the space, just enough to hold it together, without revealing more than is needed. The shadows remain deep, still, unmoving, and at the center, a low stone bench rests, simple, unchanged. You do not need to sit. You do not need to stop. You can simply remain standing, or continue. It does not matter. There is nothing to follow. You continue. And slowly, without deciding, you come to rest before the bench. The stone beneath your feet feels steady, unmoving, and the space around you holds you gently, without effort, without expectation. Nothing changes. You lower yourself, slowly, and sit. There is no shift, no moment of arrival. The world does not respond. It simply remains still. The castle rests around you. The walls, the corridors, the quiet spaces you pass through. All unchanged, all settled, and the night beyond the walls remains just as still, just as quiet. You continue, but now there is no movement, only the feeling of remaining. There is nothing to think about, nothing to remember, nothing to follow. Only the quiet, only the stillness, only the gentle sense that everything has already settled. And that is enough. You do not need to move again. You do not need to continue. You can remain here as long as you like, without effort, without thought, just resting. The air remains still, The light remains soft. The stone remains steady beneath you. Nothing changes. And slowly, even the feeling of being here begins to soften, until there is only rest